Turning now to this, 4 senior Biden White House aides have agreed to testify before the House Oversight Committee as part of Republican-led investigations into the former president's declining health, obviously while in office.
Chief Washington correspondent James Rosen joins us live with the very latest. James, what have you learned?
Bob and Katrina, good afternoon. Until now, the effort to determine who knew what and when about President Biden's declining condition in the Oval Office has been driven largely by news media reporting. Now cometh the first round of transcribed interviews of witnesses by congressional investigators. Neera Tanden, former director of the Domestic Policy Council at the White House, longtime intimate of the Clintons, will appear before the House Oversight Committee with counsel present on June 24. Anthony Bernal, a former senior advisor to First Lady Jill Biden, with the dual title of assistant to the president, will follow 2 days later. Then Ashley Williams, who held the title of special assistant to the president and also served as deputy director of Oval Office operations, and Annie Tomasini, also an assistant to the president who served as deputy White House chief of staff, will meet with House investigators a week apart in mid-July. Finally, Dr. Kevin O'Connor, the president's personal physician, who attested annually in published letters to Mr. Biden's fitness for office, is still in talks with the panel about the terms of an interview and could face a subpoena. The presence among the witnesses of Anthony Bernal shows that House Republicans, in building out this investigation, intend for it to encompass the office of the First Lady. President Trump was asked recently whether he believes Dr. Biden herself should be summoned for testimony.
Well, I hate the concept of it. It's the wife of a man who was going through a lot of problems, and everybody that dealt with him understood that. And I guess it came out during the debate loud and clear. That was the biggest signal of all. They have to do what's right.
Other close aides from whom the committee is seeking testimony include former White House Chief of Staff Ron Klain and a pair of longtime advisors, Mike Donilon and Steve Ricchetti. Bob and Katrina.
James Rosen, we appreciate the update. Thank you.
Joining now is President of the National Federation of Republican Women, Julie Harris, along with Democratic strategist and former Obama campaign director Robin Biro, and Lydia Serrani, back on set with us, host of Sunday Agenda. Julie, I'm going to start with you here. What do you make of all of this? Do you think this could be a significant problem as we learn more?
I do. This is more than just congressional oversight. It's about basic trust that the American people have with their government. It's a simple yet so profound idea that when the voters elect a person, that person is the one running their office, especially the United States president, who signs executive orders and pardons. The American people have the right to know who orchestrated this deception. We were facing some very critical moments in American history. Our national security hung in the balance. That horrible withdrawal from Afghanistan, our country being invaded, the mishandling of COVID. We need real answers.
Robin, do you think there's anything to this? And I just want to say I get where President Trump is trying to make this point, that some of the policy from Joe Biden was so egregious that it kind of looks fishy. And then you add in the auto pen here, you see where he's coming from. Your take.
You know, I appreciated the empathy that I actually saw from President Trump about this, because this is a man who's now 82 years old, and he's got an aggressive form of cancer, and nobody wants to have his wife up there, being pummeled with questions while she's also grieving her husband's condition. I get it, but the Americans do, Julie's right, Americans do deserve to get some answers here. I just don't know what good this will do. It's not like Biden can be impeached. He's no longer president. I just don't really know
the people who were involved.
Yeah,
right?
Well,
should it be the case?
Yeah. Lydia, what do you think potentially comes of this if it is revealed that somebody else was making these high-level presidential decisions who was not elected?
You know, I read one report that said the only handwritten pardon that President Biden did was the one for his son, Hunter.
It was Hunter, yeah.
And that is incredible to me that would be the case, that's the only one. I mean, we're talking about more presidential pardons than any other president in history. And then we see how mentally incapacitated he was. And we were gaslit and we were told we were liars and conspiracy theorists. So, yes, there was this massive cover up into what Byron was saying. I think the goal is to never let this happen again.
Julie, again, expand on that here and the fact that, and Lydia, I think you brought up a good point, that he did handwrite the Hunter Biden one, but all the other things, it's all used with an auto pen. It's almost as like they that maybe Jill was involved and they made sure, well, we're going to get his actual signature on this one here. Again, kind of looks a little odd.
Yeah, I mean, Hunter's his son. He loves his son, and I can certainly relate to that as a mother. But I agree that this cannot happen again. This was a orchestrated deception. I don't even know that we can blame Biden. I mean, clearly he was having trouble remembering basic facts. He was confused on the world stage. I'm more interested in who orchestrated it, who was running it behind Biden.
Robin, I know you said, kind of maybe what's the point about this? Biden can't be impeached. But I wonder more broadly, from more of a macro lens, is this potentially harmful, a downstream effect for the Democratic Party, showing that obviously there was some conspiracy potentially to come together to mislead the American people, to have a puppet president sitting there who was not making any decisions, and to have everything that was so, I will say, un-American, also so typically un-Joe Biden, as President Trump had pointed out. He said, well, he wasn't for illegal immigration, for flooding our countries. Right. He wasn't for men playing in women's sports. So whose agenda was it, and could it harm, again, to get back to my question, the Democratic Party downstream?
Katrina, absolutely. And I thought about this. This could be a little situation of political football because campaign season has already begun for the midterms. And this could have dramatic ramifications for Democrats during the midterms if more of this comes out. Now, I will say this. I am just glad that these 4 interns and people that were involved have agreed to testify. That's something that we haven't seen in the last couple of years. So I'm just glad that they have agreed to testify. That tells me hopefully they don't have anything to hide and they will be transparent with the American people.
Or they have something to say. Usually, I think these Senate hearings are not much comes out of them. I feel like this one could really add some steam into this investigation if they say, well, yeah, you should keep on this track.
Yeah, although it's also interesting to note that his physician, his personal physician, has not yet scheduled his testimony, and he may be the main one with someone to hide.
I wanted to mention that about the physician because of his ties to James Biden, Joe Biden's brother. So there was a business interest, a financial aspect going on there. So it's possible that that could be a motive as to why he kind of helped cover all of this up. We shall see.
Again, we don't know yet, but it'll be interesting to see if and when he testifies. Julie, Robin, Lydia, thank you.
Pleasure. Thank you.